What up? Welcome in to another episode of Profit Picks. If you're new, we always start by being transparent. And yesterday, I split Cavs -5. They're in control of the entire game. That was an easy winner. But the Laker game, first half over, was not a good pick. I saw before game time it dropped like 5 points. So split day yesterday. We'll try to do better today. We got Kyle here to help us out. Kyle, how's NBA been treating you, and how you doing today?
NBA as a whole has not been treating me well. Although my favorite pick against the spread last night was Philly, so they got the cover and still got the win for the Knicks, so that was perfect. And we hit
Dream
a nice
scenario.
Yeah, it was perfect. That's how we drew it up. And we hit a nice same game parlay, which I know they're terrible bets, but we hit it. So my group as a whole, we were happy last night. MLB's been great to me. I had another winning baseball night, so baseball's been keeping me afloat.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you on that baseball after All-Star break, but nice to see it's been treating you well. Toast, that's my guy. I know you do a lot of work with Toast.
Yeah.
He must be helping lead you in the right direction.
He's off to his best start. He's up like 16 units or something already. He's killing it.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Toast, keep it going, brother. Absolutely. He's a great capper. So nice to see that translate into wins. What do you think about this really quick before we get started? Rick White says, three teams I can't trust in the playoffs: Magic, Pacers, and OKC. We'll talk about one of them today, but in general, these are all very young teams. Do you think it's just a one game they were nervous, or you think it might be an entire series?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Not true for the Magic, maybe, but Indiana's not as young as you think. I mean, Miles Turner is like 28. I don't really consider the Pacers a quote unquote young team. They might be younger than the Bucks because the Bucks are ancient, but I don't think Indiana. I mean, obviously Halliburton's young, but I don't. I mean, Siakam's what, 30? I don't consider the Pacers to be that young, but definitely true for the Magic. They can't score. I mean, I had Magic plus 6.5 last night, and they shot, what was it, 36% from the floor as a team? If they shot 38%, I would have covered. Like 36% is absolutely insane. And there's a lot of, I mean, Jonathan Isaac should look himself in the mirror and decide if he ever wants to take another jump shot again. This dude could not hit a wide open jump shot. So, yeah, maybe the moment's too big for him. So maybe the lack of experience comes in for them. But I wouldn't say that for the Pacers, because I don't consider the Pacers to be that young of a team.
Fair enough. When I have Ravino come on here, people guess his shirt color, and we give out money to the winner who guesses correctly. They're guessing your hat, what hat you're gonna wear. Nobody's got it. Nobody's got it correct, but maybe we'll start to do something with what hat that you wear. A lot of comments in here, but I don't think I can get to them all. The last one I'll read is Robert says, "Skee not coming on, or are you just late?" You must be new, because it's a usual when we come on a little bit after the 10:30. Let's get to it. We got 3 games on for tonight. Good ones, or at least a couple good ones. 509, 510. I'm always going to say the numbers when you're here, Kyle. Phoenix and Minnesota opened up -3. They're still -3 across the board. Total, though, has come down 2 points to 211.5. And we've seen these playoff unders be pretty damn good so far. I'm going to kick this one to you first here. When we talked on your channel, I know the bracket you had the Suns moving on. Do you think they bounce back tonight?
Yeah, I bet Phoenix. I took it at +3. I also took the money line. Kind of just sticking to my guns here. I had said before the game one, I bet Phoenix in game one, and I said I wouldn't be completely surprised if Minnesota comes out and takes game one, but if that happens, I'll come right back and hit Phoenix in game two to bounce back and get my money back and be up. So I'm sticking to what I said. That being said, definitely a little worried at the way Minnesota handled game one. Defense looks official. I mean, Suns shooting was bad. And this is probably the best team shooting the basketball from beyond the arc and inside the three-point line for a solid month and a half to finish out the season. And then to come in and shoot, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they shot like 43% or something as a team. Don't love that because clearly Minnesota's defense is not to be taken lightly. That being said, I still think there's a ton of regression on the side of Phoenix here. Rebounding battle, 52-28 in game one, 52-28. Now, I know a lot of people might see that discrepancy and be like, oh, that makes sense. Gobert and Towns against Nurkic and Durant. I get it, but that's not really how rebounding works. 52-28 is crazy. That's like Minnesota against Indiana State. Like that's a crazy discrepancy. And then on the season, these two teams in rebounding rate were like 13th and 14th. So there's definitely, I know that Karl Anthony Towns missed a big chunk of the season, and now that Towns is healthy, Minnesota should be the better rebounding team. I'm not even debating that, but 52-28 is wild. And there's no way the Suns get absolutely cleaned on the glass like that again. So there's regression there. Also, Devin Booker. I mean, Minnesota's defense is insane, but when Devin Booker's hitting his shots, it doesn't matter what defense is playing because he's taking shots that aren't, you can't guard them. I mean, doesn't matter. Contested, that's just Devin Booker's game. He takes shots that you cannot stop if he's on. So I expect him to bounce back. And then Anthony Edwards is clearly the man, but he's not going to shoot over 58% the entire playoffs. So as much as I'm impressed with the way Minnesota did look in game one, I'm sticking to my guns and sticking to Phoenix. I still think they advance.
Well, I'll disagree a little bit with you here on this game. I don't think it's a fluke that Minnesota out-rebounded them like that. You said a couple of things. Yes, they were without Towns for a good chunk of the season, and the regular season is just different than the playoffs. You're going to get max effort. They're going to exploit the mismatches 100% of the time. And the T-Wolves know they have a big size advantage, and they can exploit that as far as the boards. Offensive rebounds, I mean, 13-3, I don't see that changing. It's not a whole lot of lineups that Phoenix can put out there to compete with the front court for Minnesota in that regard. So I just have a hard time thinking that changes. And I mean, Kevin Durant had a great game, right? He was, let me just pull up the stats here. Kevin Durant,
17, I think.
Yeah, 11 for 17, 31 points. How much better is he going to play? I get, and Bradley Beal he went 6 for 10, 15 points. Booker had the bad game. I mean, I'll say like this, Kyle. Can all three go off? Sure, they can. Would you expect all three to go off more at home or on the road? I think Phoenix will look a lot better when they go home. Also, the role players, you're not getting much help. Grayson Allen didn't even hit a three. Royce O'Neal played good, but I think the role players.
Did Grayson Allen get hurt in that game? He's listed as questionable.
He might have. I think it was an ankle, but I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. He only played 25 minutes. I do know that. I'm looking at it right now. But I expect the role players for the Timberwolves to continue to step up. I think rebounding will be in their favor the entirety of the series. And you heard me say this before. I don't trust the Suns to play defense. I don't trust them to get stops. Minnesota's been the best defensive team all year. I do trust them on that end. So I disagree. I think the Suns have a much better shot once they return home. Anything else you want to add, or are we good to go?
No, I do agree with some of what you're saying. But I also think some of it might be an overreaction based on game one. I mean, and kind of like forgetting what we saw from Minnesota after the last couple of months and how bad that offense can look at times.
And I'll disagree with you on one more point, Kyle. Anthony Edwards can get what he wants. Anthony Edwards is
58%. Man, he shot 46% from the floor this year.
I mean, will he shoot close to 60% every game? No. But do I trust him in every single game? Absolutely.
Oh, by no means am I saying, Anthony Edwards is going to regress and play poorly. I'm just saying there's room for regression downward. I mean, he played out of his mind.
I agree with that.
There's no way you expect Anthony Edwards to shoot 58% and Devin Booker to shoot 20. Like that's what you're banking on.
I would say 2 out of the 3 for the Suns probably have a good game. Booker probably bounces back. KD probably continues to play well, and Bill probably shits the bed. That's probably my guess tonight. We'll see how it shakes out. We're moving on over to Pacers and Bucks. And this one hasn't really moved too much. Bucks are a 1-point favorite. Total, though, has dropped 3 points to 223.5. This is one what's the word I want to use? I want to say impressed, but maybe impressed is not the right word. You had a good read on this series. You picked you picked Milwaukee in your bracket. They went out there and dominated the entirety of the game. Had the question about the bright lights kind of deal for teams like the Pacers. Halliburton, he said he knows he played poorly. He's going to bounce back. He knows the team depends on him. Can the Pacers punch back and get a win tonight, or is it Bucks at the house?
I took the Pacers, but I still think the Bucks win this series. Um, I mean, this lingering Giannis injury is just it's kind of hard to really make any sort of prediction. Obviously, the Bucks look great, but in Game 1, it was just a huge case of one team's shots were falling and one team's weren't. And I mean, if you look down the board, Indiana won the rebounding battle. Turnovers were even. Indiana scored more points in the fast break. They scored more points in the paint. I mean, Indiana like outplayed the Bucks in several aspects, except for field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. One team's shots were falling and one team's weren't, which obviously is the most important part of basketball. But also, it leads me to believe that that isn't going to go down like that again. I like this Bucks team a lot more with Giannis. They've looked really ugly without Giannis on the season. Yeah, that's Damian Lillard, 6 of 11 from outside. That's awesome, but Pacers are a top 5 3-point defense. I find it hard to believe we could count on that happening again. Pacers have been locking down the 3-point line all season, and that was the reason that I'm worried about the matchup for the Bucks without Giannis is because they don't really have anybody that can attack and score at the rim, which is the weakness of the Pacers defense. Now, it wasn't a problem in Game 1 because their outside shots were falling, but I just really have a hard time believing that happens again against a team that's really been locking down the 3-point line all year. Also, it feels like everyone has just bailed on the Pacers. Everyone bet Indiana in Game 1, and now everyone's like, nah, Bucks. Like, it seems like everyone kind of just bailed on where it's like, did you guys not see what the Bucks looked like without Giannis this year? It was pretty bad. I mean, they played a great game, but I find it hard to believe that everyone's opinion of this series has changed based on one night where the Pacers shots weren't falling. Damian Lillard, what he scored 35 points in the first half. In the second half, Pacers actually brought that back and made it kind of interesting. Now, Bucks were in control start to finish, but Pacers won the third quarter 29-14. So when the shots stopped falling for Damian Lillard, Pacers looked like the much better team. And if the Bucks don't shoot like that again from outside, I think the Pacers win. So I like the Bucks to win this series, but I'm banking on Giannis coming back. So I bet the Pacers in this game.
Interesting. I would say the Pacers, I mean, they shot horrific. 8 for 38 from 3. That's close to what, like 20%. I definitely expect them to shoot better here. All year long, I kept saying I'm not really a believer in the Bucks perimeter defense. I think we see a pretty strong bounce back offensively from the Pacers. I disagree with the total moving down, Kyle. I think this is more of an over game. Pacers are going to play with pace. It's the only way they know how to play. And I think the Bucks, they'll be okay with that pace. I also like the spacing that the Bucks have without Giannis out there. For as much good as Giannis does, I'm a big fan of the spacing. So I think there'll be points scored. How you feel about it?
Yeah, if I was to bet the total here, would be over, but it would be more Indiana team total over. I actually paired in Game 1, I paired the Pacers with the Bucks team total under, which actually saved me some money because I split on that game instead of losing. I had Bucks team total under 115.5. They won 109.94. So I don't like and it kind of goes back to what I just said. I don't like I don't know how the Bucks are scoring points here against a team that locks down the 3-point line, because even though the Pacers defense isn't that great, they're good at one thing, and it's the only thing the Bucks can do without Giannis. They don't have anybody that can get to the rim. Damian Lillard went 6 of 11, 35 points in the first half, but other than that, Bucks didn't have much offense in that game. So I mean, yeah, if you think Damian Lillard's just going to come out and be the best guy on the court, shoot 60% from 3 again, maybe. But I mean, I feel like most basketball history will point towards after a game like that coming back down a little bit. So, yes, I think Pacers get Game 2, and then Game 3. Pacers get Game 2, and then Game 3 in Indiana, they'll be laying some points or maybe -1, and hopefully Giannis comes back and we can grab it.
All right, we'll see how that one goes. Hopefully Giannis does come back soon. We have one more game left up here. That's Mavs at Clippers. And the Mavs, I mean, did they even know they had a game? The last one, they scored 30 points in the first half. It looked absolutely nothing like the team that ended the season. Maybe they were rusty. I mean, Luka and Kyrie had the last 2 games off. They didn't play for like 10 plus days. It definitely looked like it, the way Luka was shooting in that first half. The second half, they did start to look better. Maybe it was part of, putting Kleba, and Kleba helped out with the spacing. But I think after the very poor start to last game, Mavs come out with energy and effort to start this one. Kawhi coming back is not necessarily a positive for me. just because he hasn't played in 9 games. So I'm thinking the Mavericks early, get in and get out. How do you feel about this game, Kyle?
Man, I have no idea. um, See, all right. So what in game one, I was looking at the Clippers' recent numbers, right? And it shows that they had been playing good defense. I called bullshit and bet Dallas. I said, those last 5 games of the year, there's some meaningless games in there. No, I'm not believing in this Clippers defense. And they come out and play a good defensive game. And now we're talking about the sample size is pretty decent now. Hold on, let me pull it up. Clippers, last 5 games, 5th in defensive rating. Last 10 games, 8th in defensive rating. And it has me scratching my head. Like, am I about to believe in the Clippers defense? What? I don't even know what to really think about that. In the last 5 games, the Clippers are 1st in 3-point defense. In the last 10 games, they're 3rd. What the hell? Are the Clippers just showing up and playing defense? If that's the case, I might like them. I took the Clippers +2, but actually my main bet in this one was the under at I took 216.5. But this one, man, flip a coin. I have no idea. I guess the Clippers are a good defensive team now. I really don't know. I don't want to just like bullshit. I feel like I'm throwing darts in the dark here on this one. And you know what's crazy is this is wild. So 2 years ago, this exact series, Mavs Clippers, I went 7 games. I went 0-6 against the spread and then picked Dallas right again. I don't know what it is about these two teams. I can't get a feel for it. And I picked Dallas in game 1, lost. It looks like here we're back on the carousel. And Mavs Clippers, I can't get a read on. I have no idea.
Well, I'll ask you this. Do you think Kawhi coming back is a positive tonight? Do you think he'll play well?
I'd say probably, yeah, positive. Whether it's a 3.5 point positive on the line is probably where I'd say no. But I think Kawhi is a pretty, I don't know what's the word to use. I would say like a conservative player where I don't think Kawhi, from what we've seen, he's completely fine not taking 25 shots. So I trust him as a veteran and as a veteran in the playoffs to assume whatever role he's comfortable assuming, even if it's maybe just a defender and going to take 13, 14 shots on the night. So, no, I don't think he comes back and is Kawhi Leonard, but I think he is an asset, definitely. That's how I feel about it.
Fair enough. I'll ask you one last question about this one. Mavs, do you think they shoot as poorly as they did, 30% from 3? Do you think they start as slow as they did in the last game?
Well, I mean, what you said makes perfect sense that Dallas comes out hot. But, I mean, Clippers, 1st in 3-point defense last 5 games, 3rd in the last 10. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't I don't know, man. Like, I would say that I guess Dallas should come out shooting the 3-ball in regression. But you know what? Last 5 games, Dallas 22nd, 29th from the 3-point zones. Clippers #1 defense from 3. So I don't know. I'm not a good bullshitter, so like I'm just being I don't know, man.
Fair enough. I like this game. I like it. I'm starting to like it more and more. And I can't help but think after you get punched in the mouth to come out like that, only scored 30 points in the first half. That's probably all you were talking about as far as after the game. We got to come out. We got to start hot, start good, throw the first punch. Luka plays majority of the first quarter, if not the entire first quarter. I think first quarter Mavs is the way to go in this game. Looks like where I'll have my money. And you're getting a better price than the opener right now because it looks like they expect Kawhi to play. And it hasn't been official. So I might even just wait till he's rolled in. You might even get a little bit extra on that number. So good stuff here. And we got through the 3 games relatively fast, less than 20 minutes. So on that note, we'll move it over to best bets. Before I ask you for one, you guys should know by now if you've watched. Kyle has this channel, Kyle Kirms. He does MLB, NBA. He does everything over there, and he's making money. So make sure you guys give him a follow. Also follow him on Twitter at Kyle Kirms. If I missed anything, let the people know how they can find you or whatever you'd like to promote. And also, if you have one, no pressure. Maybe a bet you like a little bit more than the rest for today.
I like the Pacers. I think it's the right side. That would be Pacers +1 or whatever. Is it still a +1?
Pacers are currently, my bad, get back to full game. They are +1, yes.
Yeah, give me Pacers +1 as the best bet. I just think there's so much regression on their side in that game, and I'm not willing to overlook what we've seen from the Bucks without Giannis this year because of one game where Damian Lillard happened to get red hot in the first half. So I think that would be my best bet tonight. Still like the Bucks to win that series. I'm assuming Giannis comes back, but I mean, man, this new era of using the injury report as like a strategy and like fool people is wild. Like I don't know how that's even allowed, but whatever. Yeah, Pacers +1 would be my best bet.
All right, good stuff. And the injury report in the NBA is definitely like no other league, and not in a good way.
They're like purpose. Well, it's spreading too. I don't know if you're a college football guy, but
No.
Okay, so Utah, their quarterback is Cam Rising. He was a game time decision in week 1. He was a game time decision. Didn't play all year. And then after the season, the coach said, "Oh, we knew that he was not going to play for several months, but we're not required." He was a game time decision every week. Every week, He was a game time decision. He was a game time decision week 1. So on my videos every week, I'm like, "Will Cam Rising play?" Little they know, they knew he wasn't playing. Like I felt like a fool. Like these guys are just toying with us.
Like in the playoffs, I feel like that's acceptable. You don't want to tip your hand, but the entire season, like, come on, man. Like,
well, it's not that I blame the teams or the coaches for doing it. They're just trying to win. I get it. It's how have they not stepped in and been like, guy? I think they're trying to though with like the tampering and stuff. They're trying to stop that. But I mean, I don't fault the teams for doing what they think gives them an advantage. It's just it's kind of like it's stupid. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, is this basketball? Is this some kind of like weird game of chess? Like I.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been thinking about it long enough, Kyle, and I found my way to make money tonight. I think regardless, I mean, if you wait, you probably can get a better number, but I don't think you need it. I think Dallas is winning at the end of the first quarter. And my best bet for the show right now, you get Dallas plus a half a point. And you can even get plus a half a point everywhere in the first quarter. So I'll get in early, let everybody else have the rest of the game.
If you like Dallas, what I'll probably do is I like the under. So I could see Clippers team total under because I could see Harden regression hitting him. We know Harden in the playoffs is always good to lay an egg. So I could see the Clippers offense. But I mean, the Clippers defense, I have a tough time. I mean, it's a decent sample size where they're playing good defense. So who am I to say it's fake, you know?
Well, last thing I'll say on that too is, I mean, a big part of the reason why the Mavericks were so good down the stretch of the season is improved defense.
Yep.
So that does sound like a good bet for tonight. Good stuff, Kyle. I always appreciate you coming to join the channel. I will also be with Kyle tomorrow on his channel, so make sure you check us out. And you have an MLB show coming up, right?
Yeah, 3:45. We're doing NHL, NBA, MLB in that order.
All right, so make sure you check them out. And until next time, we'll catch you guys. Best of luck.